This is the first video for I Have a Food, and this is toast with an egg in the middle. For each piece of toast that you make, you're going to need 1 egg and 1 piece of bread. I'm making 2 pieces of toast, so I'm going to need 2 pieces of bread, 2 eggs, 2 cookie cutters. You can use whatever shape you want as long as it fits into the middle of the bread, and a pat of butter. To cut the shape out of the middle of the bread, take a cookie cutter and put it in the middle of the bread so that it fits, but doesn't make any parts of the bread too thin, and just press down. Do the same with the other slice of bread. When you remove the cookie cutters from the pieces of bread, you should see the shape of the cookie cutter. You're just going to poke it out with your fingers, like so. You may want to be careful about the shapes that you choose because some of them will fall apart if they have really skinny pieces, and some of it may stick to the inside, but if that happens, then just pull out the little extra pieces on the inside of the bread. And for the bread, if you really want it to be perfect, you can squish it back, but it's not really that important. Save the inner pieces of the bread. You're going to use that later. Now you're done with the cookie cutters, so you can take those away. And next, you're going to need the pat of butter. Alright, for your pat of butter, you can just use like a 1/4 teaspoon for this if you don't have a pat of butter, but you're going to want to cut this into 4 pieces. This pat of butter has been sitting out for a little while, so it's a little bit softened, so I'm just going to have to scrape some off onto a spoon or a knife. So now I'm going to get 1/4 of the pat of butter on a butter knife. About 1/4, more or less. And then you're going to bring this to the stove. Now you want to melt the butter in the pan, turn it on a medium heat. You can just swirl it around and that should melt it just fine. Now you take an egg and one of the pieces of toast with the middle cut out, put the toast on the pan, and crack the egg into the middle. It might spill over the sides a little bit, but you're going to flip it. Now right here you can see that from the butter the toast got a little bit browned. That's what you want to see. We're going to flip it over one more time though to get it a little bit more brown. Okay. Now I guess it doesn't really matter what shape you put in the toast because on one side it's probably not going to show up at all. Yeah, so right here, you see how it kind of spilled over the edge and it got a little bit browned. That's good. Once the other side has been cooked for long enough, which is probably just 30 to 60 seconds, I'm going to flip it one more time. It's like over easy or over medium egg in the middle of the toast. Now do the same with the other piece of toast and the other egg. Oh, I almost forgot. Before you do the next piece of toast, put in another 1/4 of the pat of butter. Once that piece of toast is done, you're going to want to take the pieces that you cut out of the middle. As you can see on this one, it's got some points missing, but that's okay because it's going to end up in somebody's stomach. Once those two pieces of toast are done, you're going to take the other half of the pat of butter and put it on the pan, and then you're going to take the middle pieces of the bread and you're going to make toast out of those little pieces. Once you're done cooking those four things, leave the pan to cool, and you can eat the toast. So you can take the little cutout piece and you can eat that just plain, or when you cut open the toast, if the yolk is runny, you can use it to get the rest of the yolk, and that works perfectly. Okay, the way I cooked it, when you cut into the toast, the yolk should be runny, just like that. And you can take a piece of the toast, get some of the yolk on that, and eat that. But if you don't like the yolk, then you can cook it for a little bit longer, or just eat the inner piece plain. You don't even have to cook it if you want to. You can just throw it out. And that is how you make the toast with egg, and it's good for any meal, really, so you should give this a